Hey everybody, Brian here. I've had a bunch of people ask me what my thoughts were on the Grammys, and I didn't watch the Grammys. I haven't watched the Grammys in probably more than 30 years. Much to my dismay, many years ago I began to realize that the Grammys and many other such award shows had a lot to do with publishing companies and record labels and those kinds of things, and executives, and how they like to banter about with who gets votes and who doesn't, rather than the actual merits of the artist or their efforts or the music or even its success. Obviously there's a lot of talent out there in the world that goes unrecognized, but if you make it to the big stage, such a thing like the Grammys, you know, we expect to see a certain level of talent and merit and success, and many of us feel like that should go into who gets the award or who doesn't. And I understand sometimes there's awards given out for maybe a song that wasn't as successful as somebody else's. You know, and that's how it's gonna happen. You know, sometimes maybe the people who voted thought song A was better than song B, but early on, years ago, I discovered that it had nothing to do with any of that kind of stuff, and it just had to do with publishers and managers and record label executives and stuff exchanging favors for one another, and it was kind of political and as far as how the votes got tossed around and who got in and who didn't. You know, I seen many artists get snubbed, and so finally I just quit watching the Grammys. However, this year I got tugged in a little bit this last week because there was some real controversy over Beyonce and Chris Stapleton and Billie Eilish, just to name a few. And so I took a deep dive and I took a listen to the Beyonce album, Cowboy Carter, and I listened to the Chris Stapleton's effort, and I listened to Billie Eilish. I'll start off by saying, you know, Beyonce, it's not her fault she won the Grammy. And I don't have any hate on Beyonce. You know, I think she's a wonderful singer. She's had a very successful career, and you know, my hat's off to her. That being said, you know, I don't know if I quite classify her album as what I would consider, you know, country music. At least it's not the country music I grew up on. It's kind of a hip-hop production. It's kind of a label production. You know, a lot of production goes into it, and I don't know how much musicality or artistry goes into it, other than to say that that's kind of how a lot of hip-hop music has come about today. It's all produced in a studio. It's a lot of cut and paste on computers and clips from here and there, and a lot of sampling, and that's a lot of people's idea of mainstream music. And you know, I'll concede that it's successful, it's popular, and it sells, and people seem to like it. It's some of it's okay to me, but you know, it's not what I'm going to sit here in my own home studio and play. I might play it when I'm DJing, you know, because people like to dance to it. But her album, I don't know if I would, you know, necessarily call it a country album in the sense that I consider, you know, country music. Is it worthy of album of the year? You know, I guess that's what they thought. You know, that's how they figured it. You know, Chris Stapleton, very polished, very seasoned veteran. I've seen him live. Most anything he does is really good. I thought, you know, just an exceptional talent. Album of the year, I don't know. Country album of the year, maybe. Yeah, he's in the running for that, you know, definitely. But I guess it comes down to what you like and you know, that kind of thing. But he didn't get the award, and so obviously disappointing for him. I thought it was a great album, great effort, great artistry. He's a seasoned veteran, and I really appreciate his craft. Billie Eilish. I haven't always, been a big fan of her music. Not that I'm not a fan either. Just not in the know about, a lot of her stuff. I heard one or two of her early hits. And a piano contemporary of mine kind of really liked her. And so, I thought early on, okay, some of her stuff is cool, poppy. The younger crowd seems to really like it. I guess she was maybe had, she was a mental health advocate, that kind of stuff. And so she was touching a vein for a lot of our younger generation. And I think that's some really cool stuff. I took a deep dive and I listened to her latest album. And I have to say, I dove even deeper and listened to how it was made and what her and her brother went through to record it, write it, all that kind of stuff. They really went the old school approach on it, and students and a chalkboard kind of a thing, and note for note, and hours and hours and hours of hammering it out. And I just got to say that I was incredibly impressed. Incredibly impressed with the effort that she put into that, the artistry that went into that. I can't say that, I liked every single song on the album. Birds of a Feather was just a very special song for her. That's a once-in-a-lifetime song for an artist. She just really hit it out of the park. Her brother hit it out of the park. Just the little nuances, the notation, the melody, just the different things that went into the recording of that song. I was really touched by what they put into that and how they put their heart and soul into that. And it's just a 4-chord progression, simple chord progression that's been around for many years, and it's like a 1-6-2-5 progression, but man, they really knocked it out of the park. The whole album, they just really put their heart and soul in that. I was incredibly impressed with what they were able to accomplish. She has a way of connecting with her fans. She connected with me on a couple of tunes. Her lyrics just connect with people. It just touches a vein. They're just uncanny, the way they come up with their lyrics and what they, what's meant behind them and that kind of thing. And so, I guess for me, it's kind of a new awakening as to a new artist. I just, should it have been Album of the Year? Yeah, 100%. I would have voted for it. That's not the way the other people felt, and there's nothing we can do about that. I don't believe in hating on people who win or lose or that kind of thing. I just, it is what it is. All 3 artists are very good artists and good at what they do. I thought Billie Eilish was special. And as a lifelong musician myself, I have a master's degree in music and just qualified, I feel, to say that her and her brother, they really did something there. And it's unfortunate it didn't get the recognition they had hoped for. But if you get a chance, give Billie Eilish's new album a listen. It's worth it, I think. If you want to take the deep dive and look into how it was recorded and how it was made, that's worth it too. That's my 2 cents on the Grammys, and we'll see you on the next video.